Let me introduce you to Representative Hank Johnson. He represents Georgia's 4th Congressional District and has been doing so since 2007. You may know him from his recent speech calling Donald Trump Hitler.
Charismatic and a good public speaker, deceptive and cunning, Adolf Hitler rose to power to lead Germany in 1932 after democratic elections. He rode a wave of nationalism and anti-Semitism to power, replaced anti-Semitism with all Latinos crossing our borders are rapists, drug dealers, and murderers. Does that sound familiar?
The Republican Party is the Nazi Party.
Hitler did not start the Nazi Party, but he took over the party with charisma and leadership. The Nazis and Hitler became synonymous. Much like Hitler took over the Nazi Party, Trump has taken over the Republican Party.
Hell, Trump supporters are even corpses.
Donald Trump supporters are older, less educated, less prosperous, and they are dying early. Their lifespans are decreasing, and many are dying from alcoholism, drug overdoses, liver disease, or simply a broken heart caused by economic despair.
Seriously, supporting Donald Trump now makes you die. Now, I just want to know where this man gets his statistics. Show me the study that proves that being a Trump supporter will shorten your lifespan, and I will gladly brace for that sweet, sweet death. Now, anyone with half a brain cell can tell that the stuff he's spewing out of his mouth is, well, quite frankly, nothing but bullshit. Donald Trump supporters are not drug-addicted, sickly Nazis. That's fucking retarded. Because if half the country was the Fourth Reich, Hank wouldn't even be able to say what he's saying without being put in a concentration camp. Speaking of concentration camps, remember that time Hank called Jews migrating to the West Bank termites? The ripple effect continues for U.S. Representative Hank Johnson, a week after the Lathona Democrat was quoted comparing Jewish settlement policy in the disputed West Bank to termites. This fucking madman called Jews termites! Even Ben Garrison's like, whoa, buddy, calm down there. Now, I know some of you left-leaning people still might actually have been swayed by his speech. You see some of the similarities and think, maybe Trump and his followers are Nazis. It makes sense. Well, let me show you how immensely retarded you look.
But they watched this man build and amass this power of world domination, and the world that should have been stood by and did nothing. And yet he spoke. And when Hitler stood, the people would come, and you can see, if you go back and look at some of the old news reels of Hitler's speeches, you'll see the people were standing there in awe. Hail Hitler, they would say. You could see the look on their faces as if they were in some sort of trance, and this man spoke with eloquence, this man spoke with power, this man spoke with determination, and every German fell down at his feet and worshiped him. His idea and design was to take charge of the world. Now, I know you see where I'm going with this. And I know you see what's happening. All Barack Hussein Obama needs is a mustache.
That's how stupid you look. But hey, don't feel too bad. You're not the only one that looks like an ass. Time to talk about Hank and his bath toys.
But there's one other thing that makes tubby time the very best time of the whole day. And do you know what that is? It's a very special friend of mine, my very favorite little pal. Oh, Rubber Ducky, you're the one. You make bath time lots of fun.
Now, Hank was on a House Armed Service Committee about soldiers being moved to Guam, a very serious situation that requires a lot of forethought before being carried out. Hank had the ability to ask questions, so he did, and he asked Admiral Robert Willard this beautiful gem.
My fear is that the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
We don't anticipate that.
We don't anticipate that. No shit, you don't anticipate that. No one would anticipate that. No one except for our brainchild, Hank. Hank, were you ever in an elementary school? I mean, seriously, how in the fuck could you be so retarded to think that the island is just going to flip? It's not an iceberg, Hank. It doesn't just float in the ocean. It's connected to the ocean floor. I mean, shit, dude, really? Now, Hank later stated that he was using a metaphor, but I call bullshit. Look at this man's straight delivery. Look at his gay-ass hand movements. Even everybody in the room knew you were fucking retarded. You hear that silence? That's everyone in that room going, what the fuck is this guy thinking? You know, now I'm kind of curious. How does Hank think? I guess we'll never know for certain, huh? But, what the hell, I can take a guess. So Hank believed an island was going to capsize because there was too much Marines on one side. Now how could Hank have come to that conclusion? How? Well, being a retard who couldn't learn basic first grader geography, it's easy to assume that Hank never learned how to take a shower, and instead has gone all his life taking glorious bubble baths. His mom even still runs the water for him. Now Hank is easily distracted, and can't even pay attention when he's talking to his constituents. So we can imagine Hank's mom has to give him toys to play with in the bath, so that, you know, he doesn't get bored. Now, let's take the most common bath toy. A rubber ducky. So here's Hank in the bath with his rubber ducky, having a good time, just splashing and playing away, thinking about the important hearings he has to go to. Then, he remembers he has to talk about Guam. What is Guam, he thinks? He thinks long and hard, and then finally he remembers Guam's an island. And hey, an island's in water. And so is my rubber ducky! Hank gets an idea. Hank puts his hand on his rubber ducky and pushes it under the water. Then, Hank realizes, BAM! I've got some questions to ask. Now, we don't know if any of that's true, mind you. Just my speculation. Because how in the fuck else could you be that stupid? Stupid enough to think that islands are like icebergs and float. Now, let's go back to the Trump-Hitler thing. I want you to just imagine if it was a Republican representative calling liberals Nazis. You would have the biggest shitstorm going on right now. There would be countless liberal talking heads on CNN and NBC talking about how this is a travesty and that he needs to be kicked out of Congress. Nancy and Chuck would be screeching behind their podium. There would even be Holocaust survivors on the news talking about how he trivialized the suffering of the Jews. But because he has a D in front of his name, he gets a free pass. Fuck Hank Johnson. Fuck him and his rubber duckies.